Hello friends, and welcome to the Hanged Man in the Moon. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Friends, if you are a returning visitor, you already know that we are in the middle of a DecanWalk, and this is called a different kind of DecanWalk because I'm using different esoteric associations than other people do. Yeah, most DecanWalks are based on the esoteric associations that were established and codified, if that's the right word, by the Golden Dawn. And I'm going back to a deeper level, at least in my opinion. Yes, I'm going back in history and working things out, even a little bit different from, for example, Eliphas Levi. Yeah? And if you want to know what my rationalization for this is and what the actual associations all are, I've got that all very carefully described in a different playlist called Walking the Lines of Origins to Deeper Strata. And I'll put a card up here if you want to click on that and hop on over and find out what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and how I came to these decisions. So, that's there for you. But we are doing a different kind of DecanWalk, yes? And because our DecanWalk is a little bit different, you're going to see different cards appearing here than you would see on other YouTube channels doing DecanWalks. So, if you're all good with that, come along with me. Now, speaking of coming along with me, yeah, don't go there. Speaking of walking this journey with me, I have a little tool for you just in case you want to take advantage of it. Yes, in the description box, there will be timestamps so that you can hop over to the part of the video that you are most interested in. And if you don't want to watch the rest of it, be my guest, just watch the portions that are meaningful for you. And what are those portions? Let me give you the brief outline. First, generally, we do a recap of the previous Decan, and then I will show you an oracle card. Actually, I'll show you two oracle cards that will describe the coming Decan. Yes, and I try to get these videos up at least a day before the new Decan starts. Yes, so the oracle cards are there because the authors give a very nice, concise summary of the qualities of the Decan that we're about to enter into. So I'm using those as a crutch, a tool, yes? So we look at those, and I also read a little bit from a couple of other sources that I'm using to help inform this DecanWalk. And then, so that's part two. Part three is when we pull up the actual minor arcana card that is associated with this Decan. And again, the cards from the minor arcana that are associated with the Decan for us are going to be different from those in other channels. There will be a stamp for that card. And then we pull in the two major arcana, which inform the minor arcana. And there will be a timestamp for that section of the video. And then finally, I pull three questions out of those three Rider-Waite-Smith cards, yeah, the two major arcana and the one minor arcana in the center, and I use a completely different deck to respond to those questions. So we get a little tarot spread at the end, and there will be a timestamp for that. So you can pick and choose, yes? Choose your adventure for this and all of these DecanWalk videos. Okay, so all of those are ready for you. And before we begin, first let me say thank you. Thank you for doing all of those things that you do. Thank you for watching the video and joining me on the journey, number one. And co-equivalent number one, thank you for hitting those thumbs up. Yes, you help other people find our channel when you do that. And for subscribing, that is also a great boon. You subscribe, YouTube shows us to other people subscribe, our community grows thanks to you. And also, of course, those who comment in the comment section below, you are a blessing. I love you deeply, and I love to engage with you, and I love hearing from you. Thank you for doing all of those things. Okay, friends, here we are. We're about to look at the previous decan. But first, let me tell you something. For this video and the next 2 videos at least, I am recording them early because I'm going to be going on a trip to the United States to visit my mother, who I try to get there as much as possible because she is getting on in years, yes, and her capacities are reducing over time. And while I can, I want to spend as much time as I can with her because I live and work in South Korea. She lives in California, so in the United States, just in case you don't know. So yes, I'm going to be going back to spend about 3 weeks with her. So to cover that time, I'm going to be recording a few videos in advance. Yes, because I'm doing that, I can't really tell you my experience of the previous decan. Instead, I've decided to do something else. I'm going to ask you questions. So I've got those cards up here from the last decan, which was the second decan of Cancer. So it was keyed to Scorpio, which is ruled by Mars, and we had Mars in Cancer. And you saw the, what is it called? Justice card for Cancer, the 2 of Cups for that decan, and then to stand in for Mars, we have the Emperor. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask some reflective questions to see if you recognized any aspects of this decan in your life or in the world at large. So some things we might have experienced, yes? Did you notice you're spending more time working on or around your living space, your living area, whatever that is? We're family, both biological and chosen, elected, or selected. Were family matters more important to you than usual? Were there any tensions or butting of heads with those family members that you may have spent more time with? Was there any conflict or just discomfort, more discomfort than usual? Did you put extra energy into a personal business enterprise or start some work of your own, whether it was for money or not? Yeah, did you do that? Have you felt energized by things that you want manifesting for you? Yeah, what I'm trying to ask is, have you noticed things that you want manifesting for you, and has that energized you in some way? Well, if you say yes or no to any of these questions, I'd love to hear what you think in the comment section below, because those are all qualities that were possible or that we talked about as potential for the previous decan. Yes? Now, friends, we're about to get into this new decan, which is the 3rd decan of Cancer. We're getting close to my decan, but this is the 3rd decan of Cancer, which is wonderful because, well, I'll tell you why in just a moment. First, what I will do is I will show you the first oracle card from the the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. And all of the books I talk about, all of the decks that I use in this zodiacal sign are all mass market and are all available, and there will be links in the description box below if you want to, at least at the time of this video. If you watch this 5 years from now, I make no promises, but at the time of the recording of this video, the decks and the books are still available. There will be links in the description box below. I'm not an Amazon affiliate, so you use the links, I get no money. They're just a convenience for you. And go ahead, buy them at another bookseller if you can find them there. Yes, I'm not here specifically promoting Amazon. It's just the platform that I know everybody internationally has access to here in Korea, in Europe, in the United States. It's everywhere, right? For good or ill. Okay, so let's look at the oracle card. Here it is. Friends, do you see the card right there? I hope so. I hope I put it up there for you. The name of the card is Speculation, right? Speculation. And it's a rather busy card. Yeah, the art on the card is rather busy, right? But what do we see here? We see the crab, yeah, and the crab is reaching out to touch that which the creator of this deck calls an alchemical circle of 4 elements. And I don't know if you can see that there, but those 4 elements are not in English, and I can't even tell if they're in Latin. I do not see the names of the elements clearly printed on that, but it is a very alchemically based image from what I know of alchemical images, yeah? So the crab there is touching an alchemical circle of the 4 elements. Let's just have faith. And they're blended in universal creation, according to the creator of this deck. Yeah? In the center there is the eye, looking for opportunity, according to the creator. And above there's a king and queen. Can you see them above, outside of that diamond shape? The king and queen there signify marriage, tradition, and stability. I would also recommend that possibility of them being the alchemical bride and groom in perhaps from the alchemical wedding of Christian Rosencrantz. Yeah, it would be the red king and the white queen. But anyway, so it could be that alchemical marriage image if we want it to be, maybe. According to the creator of this deck, this Decan, you can see here it's Jupiter in Cancer, which is wonderful because I'm almost sure that Jupiter is still in Cancer during this Decan. Yeah, Jupiter is about to transition out of Cancer. No, it might be out of Cancer already. It might be going into Leo by now. So, I should have checked that already. Check for yourself. Where is Jupiter? Has it transitioned into Cancer? I'm sorry, into Leo? If it has, still this Decan is relevant. Yes, because this Decan is still keyed to Pisces, which is ruled by Jupiter. So we have Jupiter in Cancer. Yes, that's why we chose this card. There's a strong sense of family, roots, and traditions, and that those things are being helpful during this time. So it's not just our current family, it's the family roots, family traditions. It's that deep sense of familial ties, I believe, in this card. So, what does that mean? So rather than being the chosen family here, and if you're not on good terms with your biological family or the family that raised you, the progenitors of your current family could be more significant. Does that make sense? There's a desire to be around and care for others, which spreads into work or the larger community. So our sense of family not only deepens, but it expands and it broadens to include work, society as a whole. We have a larger sense of family now. And what we get from family may support us in our business too. Well, that's good. Now, whether that's our own personal private business that we run and operate ourselves, or the business that we are engaged in other ways, yeah? Our jobs. So our families could be able to sustain us or help us in the work that we do outside of the home. We might have a talent or an interest in historical research now, or at least understanding the past more. And that's a theme that seems to run through this decan. It's looking back and reminiscing and pulling information from the past. This might be a good time for purchasing land or real estate if you have those inclinations or interests. But in most cases, this is a time to look to family, biological or chosen, for support. Maybe even financial support. If you need financial help, look to your family. If we need financial help, we can look to our families. Yeah. And also remembering, if our current biological family is not one that we are comfortable engaging with, we're also thinking of our ancestors here in this decan and learning from our ancestors. So this is a very deep and broad, which is perfect for Jupiter, right? Jupiter expands, Jupiter increases, but Jupiter also goes deep. Which is why Jupiter is so comfortable and happy in ruling Pisces as well as Sagittarius, where Jupiter would want to go forward and leap ahead and expand into the future with a playful, jovial spirit. In Pisces, Jupiter goes deep and broad and connects everyone and everything, right? So that quality is coming here into our family lives in some way or another, and our family lives expand. Can you feel how that makes sense? Okay, friends, so that is this decan in a nutshell. We're about to take a look at the Egyptian take on this decan. Are you ready for a look at that? Well, here it is. Friends, this is Kenmet. And who is Kenmet in this card? Well, Kenmet is not the guy sitting underneath the cow. It is the cow. Yes, Kenmet is a cow, or Kenmet is darkness. Now, remember in the last decan, we had the cow herd. Yeah, it was Tepia Kenmet. Here we have Kenmet, the cow itself. And also darkness. Okay, so first let's get into what the cow signifies or represents. Or first, you can see in the image, we've got a cow, we've got a calf suckling, and then we've got a human suckling at the cow as well. So we are possibly fed by this decan, right? Which is wonderful because we got that sense from the previous oracle card of perhaps being nourished financially or in other ways by our families, selected or biological. Here, we have the subtitle of development or growth. Yeah, so that calf is developing and growing, and so are we. The human suckling at Kenmet. Now, why is this cow also darkness? Well, this is the darkness of the womb, of the gestational period, of the seed in the earth. This is the developmental darkness, yes? It's a period of darkness required before change can occur. It's also the caterpillar in the cocoon, the darkness of the cocoon before being able to burst forth as the butterfly, right? And in this decan, according to this image on this card of Kenmet, the changes are almost always positive changes. It's a gestation period. Yeah, we're waiting for change to occur. But remember, waiting for change to occur can be painful and unpleasant. Think of that caterpillar in the cocoon. Yeah? What's happening in there? The caterpillar is basically digesting itself. That cannot be pleasant or comfortable, right? There's discomfort there as it dissolves itself within its shell. Shell being cocoon. But it's necessary. Yes? And the blackness here that is also indicated is the blackness of fertile soil. Right? So remember we had the floods coming in to nourish the land of Egypt when the Nile floods. Here now we have rich, black, fertile soil. Yes? Because remember, the association of blackness and evil or negativity is not universal. Blackness is also gestational, it's also fertile, it is also the place of growth and transformation. That's what we're looking at here. And it's beautiful, right? I think it's beautiful. And I don't know how you feel about drinking milk right out of the cow, but think of this at the time when it was painted. Yes, at the time it was organized as a system. This is a beautiful nature god, cow god, feeding us, right? That's what we're looking at here. Beautiful, beautiful thing. Okay, so we also have some information from books, right? You know I like to read from this book. It is Decanics and Duads, the zodiac within each sign. It's by Sequoian and Aker. And let me tell you what they say about the third decan of Cancer. Yeah? It starts off with seeking to cultivate a peaceful spiritual atmosphere in domestic environments. Now, the home is often used as a place of healing and refuge. So where in the last decan, the home and family was a place of potential friction and argument, now it's a place of healing and refuge. Yes? Also, during this time, there's the higher potential for developed psychic ability, and active imagination and artistic talents are highlighted during this Jupiter exaltation in Cancer. Remember, Jupiter, this being the third decan of Cancer, Jupiter is keyed in here through Pisces. But Jupiter is also exalted in Cancer. What does that mean? It means that Jupiter gets the VIP treatment. Yes, it means that whereas Jupiter is the ruler of Pisces and Sagittarius, here Jupiter is raised up, is exalted, is treated like the honored guest during this time, especially. During all of Cancer, but especially during this time for us in our DecanWalk. So, yay Jupiter, exalt Jupiter, hail Jupiter, yes? And there's a need for this decan. From the other book that is listed down in the description box below called Decanics, the need is to control our emotional natures. We have the potential to be emotionally sensitive still. And to study nature and to reveal its secrets. Yeah? We want to look around us at the natural world. And with our intuition, with our imaginations perhaps, unearth from the gestational darkness of the fertile soil the secrets that are contained therein. It sounds like a wonderful decan, doesn't it? And we've got a very wonderful card for this decan if you are ready to look at it. So friends, we're going to leave behind the Egyptian decans and hop right into the Minor Arcana card, which stands in for the third decan of Cancer right now. So friends, here it is. Friends, the Three of Cups. How do you feel about the Three of Cups? If you're like me, I love the Two of Cups. The Two of Cups is a titillating card for me because I am a romantic at heart, and that feeling or that image of the two people looking to be deeply in love and sharing their emotions and sharing their feelings is a wonderful thing for me. However, when I think of fun, I think of the Three of Cups. This looks like the most fun. Now, it's not the 10 of Cups of the family frolicking. It's not the 9 of Cups of feeling just emotionally satisfied with myself, but this is the fun card, right? It's the card of that looks like they're ready, well, that they have gone out to party, whatever that means for us at this stage of our lives. Yeah, at one stage of my life, that would mean going to a bar with a few friends and pounding back drinks and having deep philosophical chats after a show. Now, that might mean going out for coffee with one or two friends and having interesting, fun, and hopefully sometimes philosophical conversations in a coffee shop, right? So our lifestyles are different, and yet it still points to the same essence, right? Sorry, I've got the air conditioner turned on because it is hotter than, well, it's not that hot yet. Still, it's pretty dang warm outside and inside. So to feel a little more comfortable while I record with the lights here causing more heat, I decided to turn on the air conditioner, but my voice is starting to feel a little bit, we'll see what happens. So here we go. Three of Cups. Jupiter, right? Because the Three of Cups is here for the third decan of Cancer. And again, that means it is keyed to Pisces, which is ruled by Jupiter. So we have Jupiter in Cancer, which means we have the mutable aspect of cardinal waters, vital attributes, entering our world right now. The mutable aspect, mutable is Pisces, of cardinal Cancer, waters, vital attributes, entering our world. And the cardinal aspect wants to get up and go. Let's start the new thing. Let's get going. And mutable is saying, yeah, let's clean up before we get moving. Yeah, let's get organized and get our proverbial shit together before we leap into the next thing. Because it's a 3, this is connected with and I'll have the Tree of Life up here later on in the video, but this is connected with the Sephira of Binah. And Binah is on the mother pillar. It is the Sephira of understanding. Yes, the divine monad in Keter flows into the wisdom of Chokmah, and that diffuse, undifferentiated wisdom flows into, and I like to think of it as a prismatic mirror sphere. Yeah? So that wisdom flows into Binah and starts bouncing around the mirrors and through the prisms and starts to differentiate into understanding. Yeah, we can't exactly get a grasp on it yet, but we can start seeing how it is the different pieces, right? When this card is upright, the thing that I think of is shared emotional nourishment. Yeah, we nourish each other with our emotional compassion, empathy, care, support, exaltation, yes, all of those things. Which was indicated in the oracle cards we saw just a bit ago, right? So here, because we've got Jupiter, religious or spiritual values with home and family are important. What does that mean? It could mean taking your kids to church, sure. But it could also be bringing our spiritual lives into our familial settings, into our homes. And that could be a new thing, or it could be a greater emphasis on spiritual or religious, depending on who you are, qualities within the family setting. Yes? It's a time of at home for healing and for refuge. We already mentioned that with the other oracle cards, right? It's a time of possible psychic ability. So pay attention to the signs and wonders that you experience in the world during this decan. Yeah? What intuitive, as they say, hits do you feel? What do you see around you? Keep your eyes and ears and third eyes and minds open for communication from spirit as well. A keyword might be research. Remember, we're researching nature to discover its secrets. And we might be easily influenced by the environment. That could be actually the natural environment, but also where we place ourselves. What social settings do we put ourselves in? Are they positive? Are they negative? Are they excited? Are they depressed? Are we putting ourselves in spaces where our energy is drained or our energy is sustained or increased? Now, our environments could have a strong effect on us. This is a time for being kind, for being sympathetic. Remember, we've moved past Mars and into Jupiter. We want to understand the emotions of ourselves and of others. We want our understanding to be both, to include emotional understanding, physical understanding, and spiritual understanding in relationship to ourselves and others. Yes? We want to understand how we and others are doing physically, emotionally, spiritually. And upright, the question I might ask of this card is, how can feeling be shared or expressed? Yes? How can our feelings be shared or expressed in the most beneficial way? Now, because this is the third decan, we had Jupiter here in its exaltation, but because it's the third decan, we have the moon, the ruler of Cancer, in its exaltation, which is Taurus. Yes, and Taurus is a sign of enjoying physicality, of enjoying being physical in a physical environment, and it's ruled by Venus, right? So it's also a sign of emotional connection with other people. That's increased here. When the moon is there, we feel emotional abundance. We feel shared pleasures. Our feelings are grounded and secure because of that Tauran earthiness there, right? And we celebrate belonging to our group, whatever that is. Whatever group you have selected for yourself, and I hope that you do have a group to select, we feel our belonging to that group is increased. That sounds wonderful, doesn't it? So friends, those are some things that we could place our awareness on during this time of the year. Now friends, we have two major arcana cards that are coming to inform the Three of Cups. So I will show you those three cards, and I will also show you the Tree of Life. I will show you the Tree of Life, not the Three of Life, the Tree of Life. Okay? So friends, here are the three cards. Friends, you see, from left to right, we had Justice, or we have Justice. You can see them here, right? Justice, which is there for Cancer, because in our associations, the Justice card is associated with Cancer. We have the Three of Cups again, and then we have the Empress, which is here for Jupiter. Yes, the Empress is here for Jupiter. Let's start off with, oh, and you see the tree of life there, right? And on the tree of life, can you see that Bina is lit up because of the Three of Cups? Oh, and I forget. Oh, yes. Okay, so I will have that up there for you. I forgot to print that on my printout of the Tree of Life. But yes, Bina is lit up for the Three of Cups. And you also see Bina is lit, the path from Bina to Gevra is lit up because of the Empress. And the Empress also lights up Chesed, right? And Chesed is connected to Tiphereth because of justice. So we see these two connections, right? Bina is connected to Gevra on the mother pillar, and on the father pillar, the central Sephira of Chesed is connected to Tiphereth, the heart chakra for me, and the Sephira of beauty because of justice. Right? Justice. Justice is the 8th card in traditional tarot. So even though this card says 11, you know that I am keeping that original association, or the older association, of this being an 8. Yes? And the 8th letter of the Hebrew alphabet is Chet. Yes? And Chet, which is the Hebrew letter symbolizing a fence or a gate. It's also that which protects life from the outside destructive forces, which is perfect for Cancer. It's the doorway for divine light to enter. It's the Hebrew letter of new beginnings, of life, of protection, of sacred boundaries, of marriage, of the canopy marriage, and of the number 8, which is transcendence after the completion of the 7, which completes the natural cycle. 7 days, for example, right? And it connects Hesed to Tiphereth. It connects our loving kindness of Chesed to beauty and the heart chakra of Tiphereth, which is a perfect placement for justice if we're not looking at punitive justice, but rather the justice of, for example, the Torah of Solomon the Wise, the justice of social justice, right? Think of those things when you think of justice now in the Tarot. Now we also have the rune of Wunjo, which is joy. It's balance, good for the justice card. It's also attraction, but security and luck and the bonds between people. You're keeping your bond, right? Keeping your promises. It's the card of holding and binding. Yes, remember the claws of the crab, yeah? Grips tightly, clings to the divine. Holds fast to spiritual principles in times of chaos. Perfect for justice. It's also the enclosure or the inner chamber of justice, of the soul. A place of spiritual retreat and protection. It's also the secure space for the sheep of a shepherd. Now, where the flock representing us, the people of God, is protected. The people of the divine's creation, yes? Or the divine's co-creation, if that makes you feel better, or makes it feel more correct. There is a safe space for us as the co-creating children of the divine. Does that make sense? Whatever that divine is, whether it is God, Allah, Brahma, the Gaia, the Great Spirit, the Divine Mother, whatever we want to call the divine, the universe, source, We are the co-creating children of that. And this gives us a safe space, yes? And it's an opportunity to remove inner resentment and negativity so we can do the action of the Three of Cups. All of this is feeding into the Three of Cups, which gives us that emotional bond, connection, right? The safe space to enjoy, to celebrate, to share, to create life, to enjoy life, to cling to the divine together as we share our emotional, spiritual selves with each other. And on the other side, we have the Empress for Jupiter, right? And the Empress is associated with the third Hebrew letter of Gimel. And Gimel connects Bina and Gevra on the tree of life. It connects wisdom, which was of Bina, which was lit up with the Three of Cups, remember? With Gevra, severity. Now, this severity is not the severity of the mean guy, but rather the severity of judgment, of making clear decisions, of organization, of boundaries, of... It's not the Saturnian boundary of Binah, but rather the Martian boundaries of the organizer and the leader, yeah? So it connects wisdom of Saturn with the organizational martial skills of Mars, the most positive aspects of Mars. Does that make sense? And because it's Gimel, and Gimel is the symbol of a camel and a rope. Think of the rope leading the camel. Gimel is also the benefactor which walks to Dalet of the emperor, which is the weak one, right? So, Gimel walks to Dalet to be a benefactor. The empress walks to the emperor to be the benefactor, benefactress if you want. It's also a homophone of the word meaning to nourish until completely ripe, perfect for the empress. It's the symbol for generosity and kindness, perfect for the empress, I think. And we have the rune Thurisaz, which is the rune of the thorn, remember, and power, but also protection and defense and overcoming obstacles, all things that Empress can very well do, as the Empress is informed and empowered by Jupiter. Does that make sense? So, in the Empress, we also have justice and righteousness, benevolence and expansion through Jupiter. We have, again, chesed, kindness and mercy, boundlessness, expansion, an outpouring of divine love and grace. All of that is coming in to inform our connection here in the Three of Cups. That sounds beautiful, expansive, graceful, loving, divinely inspired. In a safe space, right? With strong connection to the divine. And a space to share our spiritual connection as well as our emotional and physical connections as well. Lovely, absolutely lovely potential here for this Decan. Don't you think? Okay, friends, so I have pulled count them, three questions from this set of 3 cards. And if you have better questions you think might have worked better, share them in the comment section below. But the questions I pulled were from the Justice card: how can I best lean on the divine? Right? I'm clinging to the divine as the crab. How can I best lean on the divine for support? The next question from the Three of Cups is, what people can I consider including in my family circle? Yes? What kind of person can I consider opening myself up to? Because remember, Jupiter wants to expand, right? And then from the Empress card, the question I pulled was, how can I express my love? My expanding, abundant love that is growing during this time in the fertility of Kenmet. How can I express that love? So again, the three questions are, how can I best lean on the divine? What people can I consider including in my family circle? And how can I express love to those people? Okay, friends? So I've got a beautiful deck. You've seen it in the last two videos, right? Lovely deck, which is available. And here is the response from that deck. Friends, I love this deck. Do you love this deck? I know it's round and maybe you don't. I do. This is the Mother Piece Tarot, and it's been around for quite a while. And I think the art and the guidebook are all wonderful. This is how I really learned to expand my ability to read with reversals for other tarot decks. Yes, this was my reversals mentor deck. And I love it. I really do love it. Now the cards are upside down here. And if you were, did you see my second Decan video for Cancer? If you saw that, you will have heard me say I was a little bit disappointed because all three cards from that spread were upright. Well, the deck must have heard me because we got nothing upright this time. Yes, from left to right, we see the Daughter of Discs, of Earth, of Pentacles, right? Which would be the Page of Pentacles in the Smith-Waite deck. Yeah, the Daughter of Discs is in reversal, right? The next card over, the Nine of Wands, is pointing to the left. And then we have another daughter, yeah? The Daughter of Swords, which would be the Page of Swords in a Smith-Waite deck. This Daughter of Swords is also, well, I'm sorry, that's the universal symbol of bad, but this is not bad. It's just in reverse, right? So we got two reversals, one pointing to the left. For you, that would be left, yes? And two daughters, right? So you see on the Tree of Life here, I have lit up Markut, right? And I've decided to go with it. Yeah, Markut is where we place our pages and our daughters and our princesses. And they're both reverse. And they're both elementally ill-dignified. Isn't that interesting? Yeah? I keep wanting to say the princess, but it's not the princess, it's the daughter. The Daughter of Discs, of Earth, the Daughter of Swords, Air. Earth and air are elementally ill-dignified, which means they're not very comfortable together. They are ready for a squabble. They're ready to fight with each other. Yes? But we've got the wands in between, which is a nice buffer. So that's a good thing. Now, reading from left to right, well, not left to right, we're going with positional spreads here. So, starting with the first question, how can I best lean on the divine? We had that Daughter of Discs, which, what do we see here? We see a woman with that thing pointing down to the ground. That is a ceremonial pipe. So she rests her medicine pipe in the sacred circle. Behind her is her home. That cave is, so behind her is a cave home, but her cave home, it's off to her right. No, it's off to her left, the right of the card to us. So it's on this side. That black thing with, looks like a brown maybe a house inside of it. I don't know. That's her cave home, I assume. And in front of her, and it looks like a bowl to me or some kind of a container, but apparently that is an obsidian mirror reflecting the full moon. I think that's what that is. Yes? And she's also holding up some powerful thing in her hand. But this is a daughter of discs. This is in reversal, which means it's in resistance. How can we best lean on the divine? Well, we can best lean on the divine when we are resistant to our sacred power. Right? When we feel resistant to entering our sacred circle and looking at the celestial entities as they reflect here on earth, as we're resistant to that, that's the time when we really want to lean on the divine. And according to the guidebook for this card, when it's in reversal, it's feeling small and insecure. It's the need to seek a vision or news source for strength within. Now we're looking for something to feed us. It's the possibility of intellectual wisdom being gained in a cycle of falling down and getting back up. Right? So, when we have fallen down, we lean on the divine to gain up, and we can also gain wisdom by that. So we don't want to blame ourselves and shame ourselves for those times of falling down. We want to remember that we gain wisdom as we stand back up. And those are the times to lean on the divine, right? And though she does, according to the guidebook, though she doesn't seek it, she learns to handle suffering. And as we lean on the divine, we recognize that we have spiritual succor available to us, right? To be able to handle any suffering that we feel from falling down on the ground, from falling, symbolically falling. And then we lean on, that's the time to lean on the divine so we can stand back up and we can regain our security. Because certainly we feel insecure and small when we have taken a fall. Does that make sense? And then the question, what people can I consider including in my circle now that I've leaned on the divine at times of having fallen? We see the woman there. She was she was in last week's spread, if you recall. She was upright then, but now she's pointing to the left. And we see a wise woman. She was in the same spot, wasn't she? Interesting. Anyways, she's a wise woman sitting in repose to regenerate her energy for a new enterprise. That is the potential of this card, but it's pointing to the left, which means we are being lazy about this. We're not doing this. We're not putting enough energy into doing whatever this is, which means we're not giving our need for regenerating energy enough attention. Which might mean that we're engaging in busy work and not doing the work of recovery from the fall that we've taken. And we've needed to, or we wanted to open up to the divine for succor, for help in that space of having fallen down, yes? So our energy is building back up. What people can I consider including in my family circle? Those who can build our energy up, but there's going to be a big caveat when we read this spread again, because not every person who is energized or energetic is the kind of person we want to include. We want the people who can help us build our energy up, not people who are necessarily energized. And we'll get to that distinction again in just a moment. But let's look at the Daughter of Swords, yeah? The Daughter of Swords, when it's upright, what can we see? We see a very warrior-like daughter with her sword raised. We can see a horse head and we can see cattle on the ground. And according to the creator of this deck, this is us standing on a rock, waving her sword, that's us I assume, and whistling for the wind. Oh yeah, you can see that. You can see the air coming out of her mouth. She's whistling for the wind. And the wind comes in the form or the shape of a horse. And that horse wind is welcomed by the inhabitants of this environment. And you can see at the bottom of this card, right, below the princess, there are 3 animals. And those 3 animals are a mountain goat, which makes me think of Cancer, but of course Cancer isn't a mountain goat, it's a mountain goat and a fish together, so it's a little different. I'm sorry, did I say Cancer? I meant Capricorn. The mountain goat makes me think of Capricorn, but of course Capricorn is not a mountain goat, it has a fish tail, so it's a little different. But okay, so the mountain goat, a black sheep, and then in front of those 2, the white is the goat, the black is the black sheep, there's a gray animal, which is apparently a javelina. I had no idea what a javelina was. I had to look it up. It is a pig-like animal, native to the Americas. So when this card is reversed, what are we thinking? We have when it's upright, we have the potential to call forth the wind to support us, right? The wind answers our call. Our thoughts answer our call, right? In reverse, this indicates impatience, being frustrated by difficulty, wanting to act at any cost. You know how, do you ever feel that when you feel things aren't happening as quickly as we think that they should, when we're frustrated by things not going the way that we want them to go, we just want to act, it doesn't matter, I just got to do something? That's what this is pointing towards. Obstacles and delays, yes, can cause feelings of anger and defeat. So, how can I express my love? Maybe by not doing that, right? But by having compassion for those. Now remember, we had the indication that this is a time of gestation, right? And that time of gestation is uncomfortable, unpleasant, and that could cause people to be frustrated, to want to act no matter what, and get angry and feel defeated. Compassion. First thing, we don't want to express we want to check in with ourselves. If we're feeling angry, if we're feeling reactive, we want to pay attention to those feelings and let them dissipate. But also recognize other people are feeling the same thing, and maybe we can express our love by feeling compassion for those people. Empathy for those people. Does that make sense? That's how we can express our love. We can express our love by first resolving or dissipating our own discomfort, and then allowing the compassion of the Three of Cups, the sympathy, the kindness, the emotional understanding of the Three of Cups to flow out to those around us. Does that make sense? Okay, friends, now, I know that you're smarter than me, and if you've got a different way of reading these cards, share your ideas with us. Yes? We're about to leap into the esoteric ideas behind these three cards right now. Okay? So, we're going to go back to the Daughter of Discs reversed. Now, the Daughter of Discs would be the Page of Pentacles in a Smith-Waite deck. So, for me, that means the Page of Pentacles is cardinal Earth. Because it's the page, we also include Mercury. So we have Mercury with Saturn in Capricorn, with the Page of Pentacles or the Daughter of Discs. But this is in reversal, right? So how can I best lean on the divine? Well, this also points to things like depression, anxiety, being overwhelmed by responsibility. These are the times to lean on the divine. Almost the same thing that was expressed by the guidebook for this card, right? There's the potential for being overly formal, lacking warmth. There's the potential for perfectionism because we're afraid of being wrong. And there's the potential, again, when we feel like, oh my God, what if I'm wrong, to become mentally rigid instead of flexible. Right? We become perfectionists, we become mentally rigid. Mercury in reversal. Mercury speaking formally, without the warmth of another kind of card, another kind of positioning. We want to avoid those things and instead lean on the divine. Yes? When we feel depressed, when we feel anxious, when we feel overwhelmed, when we're afraid that we might be wrong, when we start feeling ourselves calcify, becoming mentally rigid because we're afraid that we're wrong, that's the time to, okay, I really want to lean on the divine. That makes sense, yes? And then, so what people can I consider including in my family circle? We had the Nine of Wands pointing to the left. Now the Nine of Wands, so that means that it's not reversed, it's not resisted, it's not in its shadow. It's again lacking, we're lacking the energy. We're being lazy about this, yes? So it's upright but not doing the work for it. So the Nine of Wands is I didn't tell you what this is. It is the fixed aspect of mutable fire's vital attributes entering our world, which means that we have Sagittarius keyed to Leo, so we have the Sun in Sagittarius. I don't know why I didn't write that down. We have the Sun in Sagittarius. And in this case, whereas when it's upright, it's determination and optimism. In this case, we're not putting a lot of energy on being determined or optimistic. Right? It's a card of enlightenment, of romanticism and idealism, wonderful, but we're not putting energy into those things. Yeah, we're not putting energy into being performers or the need for applause. We're not putting energy into being jovial. Yes? So what kind of people do I want to include in my family circle? We don't want to include people in our circle that are overly, what? Performers. We don't want to include the performative people. We want to include people who are on the on the low, on the softer side of not being performers, right? Not really putting a lot of energy into being determined or being overly optimistic. Right? The Pollyannas. We want people who are softer in these areas. Right? Those people who will not turn from problems are the ones we want to include. We want people who can ask for help, who will accept assistance in fighting their battles. We want people who are not trying too hard, right? And because here, Jupiter is again in its exaltation, it's the third decan of Sagittarius, Jupiter is again in its exaltation. People who are not trying to sustain their faith too hard, right? People who are not overly protective of what's been built. We want people who are not trying to be too emotionally resilient. We want people who are not having to go all the way to the end into our circle. We want those softer people, the vulnerable people, the people who will ask for help and will help others. We want to include people who are not too optimistic, not too over the top with being performers. Look at me. Yeah, we want the people who will look at us and applaud us rather than need the applause for themselves. So, yes, when we looked at this card in the first pass, we want people who will help feed our energy. And we want people who are not trying to draw energy from us. Right? We want people who are willing to give energy, give the attention to us, to open up, be vulnerable with us. Does that make sense to you? And so, when I look at the Daughter of Swords in reversal, how can I express love? So, that gives us cardinal air, which is Libra, which is ruled by Venus. So we have Mercury with Venus in Libra, in its reversal. So what does that mean? How can I express my love? Well, so in its reversal, there's the idea of indecision, of superficiality, of analysis paralysis. People-pleasing leads to loss of self-identity. Superficial charm, which could be manipulative or duplicitous, but how can I express my love? By not needing to make decisions, right? By not needing to find the correct answers, by not analyzing too much, by not needing to get too deep, maybe. By trying to take care of other people. Now, we don't want to lose our self-identity, but we want to take care of people, to please people around us. That's also could be part of that compassionate, empathetic act, yes? And maybe we could be a little superficial at times, but maybe it's because we're spreading love a little bit more broadly. It might appear to be a little bit superficial, but charming. And maybe that's okay. Because those people around us are impatient, they're frustrated, they're feeling obstacles. So we don't want to overwhelm. Yeah, what is that called? We don't want to love wash everything. But maybe by being charming a little bit, laying on the charm a little bit, not needing everybody to make the right or the best decisions, Yeah? Maybe being a little bit lighter in touch as we share our love. Maybe sharing our love in ways that are pleasing to other people. Not coming on with tough love or let's go deep into your problems, yeah? But loving on people. Maybe a little bit of glamour might be helpful. Does that make sense? Okay, friends. Well, that's it for this Decan. I hope that this is relevant for us. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear from you. Is this relevant for you? Does that make sense for where we're going? And once we've been through this Decan, I'd love to hear from you again. Was this information helpful for you? Did any of the things that we discussed arise for you? I'd love to hear from you after this Decan has passed. What was your experience? You can tell us here on this video. You can hop on over to the community tab and share your thoughts there, your experiences. If you wanted to lay a 3-card spread that was different from mine for this Decan and share your reading of that there, I fully welcome you. And friends, thank you. Thank you for being here. And now, as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.